very recently, as in like a couple months or so, The Amazing Spider-Man has ended. Now, I don't know if I explained this in my first comic book video, but I haven't read that many comic books in the course of my youth. But until like 2 years ago or so, I started to actually really get into comic books and things like that. The only other Spider-Man things I have than what I have right here, right now, I got this when I was, like 12 or something. Like the Essential Spider-Man, it's just like reprinting of the really old ones in black and white. And then the Very Best of Spider-Man right here. And then I read somewhere that they were actually going to end The Amazing Spider-Man. Now, when I say that they're going to end The Amazing Spider-Man, it's not that Spider-Man is over. I don't know if whoever's reading, not reading this, who's ever watching this, how much you know about how, there's different series of comic, The Amazing Spider-Man was the first, the main storyline of Spider-Man, Peter Parker and everything like that. And then they did some other things like with different titles, like Peter Parker Spider-Man, and then there was Spider-Man in the future, and then Spider-Man this, all different kinds of Spider-Man. But for argument's sake, The Amazing Spider-Man was the main Spider-Man. It's the main storyline that they started since the very beginning. And they were going to end it with the 700th issue, which I have right here. And then, okay, I guess from here now, I'm going to talk about the spoilers. So, if you don't want to listen to what happens, just forget about this video. I don't know. But, here are my opinions on it. And I don't even know if my opinion really matters, because like I said, I only read so much. I only read this, some random in-between issues, and then like really old ones from when I first started. And then I just jumped to this, which is fine. It's still fine if you don't read, you know enough about, so you do know enough about Spider-Man. All you need to know about for this issue is really Dr. Octopus and stuff. Because, I don't know, I thought the Green Goblin was really, Spider-Man's nemesis, but I guess Dr. Octopus is really his nemesis, too. I don't know, I thought, because you know how, Batman has a Joker and Superman has Lex Luthor. I always considered the Green Goblin to be Spider-Man's main, most dangerous nemesis, but Dr. Octopus works, too, because I guess Dr. Octopus, he's battled him so many times, and they already know what the other person's going to be up to. So, apparently, in the last issue of Spider-Man, you had to go back a couple issues. Like I said, you could still do fine going with this one because they explain what happened. But apparently, through some weird little spidery thingy from the Minority Report or something like that, that's what it reminded me of. Dr. Octopus actually switched his consciousness with Peter Parker's. So Dr. Octopus is now Peter Parker, and Peter Parker is now in Dr. Octopus's dying body. Because apparently at this point, Dr. Octopus is really old or some shit, and he's about to die. So, Dr. Octopus is in Peter Parker's body. He's like, hell yeah, I can fuck Mary Jane now and stuff like that. And meanwhile, Peter Parker is like, fuck, I have to get out of this dying body before I die for good. And the whole story is basically how Peter Parker tries to get his body back. And then it ended in a way that I didn't see it coming, because Peter Parker dies in Dr. Octopus's body. And at first I was like, no. I was expecting some Hollywood kind of ending where he's gonna wake up or something. He's gonna not be dead. But then they started to do this weird thing where now Dr. Octopus is getting affected by Peter Parker's memories. He's actually starting to believe that, well, he didn't really believe that he was Peter Parker, but he started to understand Peter Parker's, reason for becoming Spider-Man. He was picturing Ben's death, except he was, thinking of Peter Parker's memories only with Dr. Octopus as Peter Parker. And he's like, oh my god, I see why you're doing all this now. That means I can become Spider-Man now. And, they were like, it was weird. It was really weird. I liked it. I didn't like it. I was like, this is weird. I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with this. It's like, oh my god. this is kind of fucked up, but I like it, but it's still fucked up. And I didn't know what to think about it. And then it just ended with Dr. Octopus becoming the next Spider-Man. And it continues with the Superior Spider-Man. And they call it the Superior Spider-Man because Dr. Octopus is, well, supposedly smarter and stuff than Peter Parker. And then by the end of this one, of course, Peter Parker isn't really dead. Apparently, Dr. Octopus, he's trying to get used to his new life now, and he's starting to find that he can't do certain things, that some subconscious is holding him back, but he doesn't know what. But to the reader, we see that Peter Parker's subconscious is still alive inside his own body, and he's trying to figure out a way how to take control of his body now. So I was like, there goes that. I mean, did we honestly think that that they were gonna kill off Peter Parker? Not really. I mean, there's a video out there, and if you haven't seen it, then you should really see it. It's called Death and Return of Superman. It's basically the same as the comic that it's based off, but it has Mandy Moore and Elijah Wood in it. I don't know if the guy who made it knew them personally or something, but it's a really funny summary and opinion on the Death and Return of Superman, which I don't know if you've heard of, but a long time ago they did something where Superman actually died, and everyone was like, oh my god, Superman's actually dead, but then they brought him back again, and the guy who made the video is basically trying to say how that sort of ruined the sacred meaning of death for comic books, and really kind of fiction for everywhere. Then comic book heroes don't really die, and it's kind of a cop-out. It's kind of ruins the meaning of death. So I was okay with how it ended until then it's like, oh, Peter Parker's still alive somehow, and I was like, okay. I kind of saw it coming, but I was still disappointed, and I don't know. I don't know if I'll read more of it. I just kind of wanted to. I might buy the third or fourth. I might just continue reading to see if he actually does come back or not. But after that, I'm like, screw it, whatever.